All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, welcome back to another episode of the Made in Dreams podcast. As always, I am your host, Mighty Vicious, also known as Will because people don't like to use Mighty Vicious for some reason. But with me today, I have, as always, my hetero life mate, Jamie James from Lucid Nebula Studios. And we also have today Lee and Sam from Ugly Sofa Gaming.
Hello.
Hello.
Indeed. So we're going to jump right in to the spotlight so that you can get everyone familiar with Ugly Sofa Gaming, where it came from, the origins, if you will. And now's your time. Let's go.
Cool. So we've been like married for a year now.
Yeah.
It's actually
a year Sunday.
This Sunday. Yeah, it's our 1 year anniversary. But we've actually been together for about 11
14 years.
14.
I think
Wow.
They fly by. And yeah, we wanted to like do a gaming channel with each other for like the longest time. We tried to set one up about I think it was about 5-6 years ago, and we recorded one video, and it was us playing the Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, and it was bad. It was like the worst video anyone has ever made ever, and that's not hyperbole. It's like if we'd have put this out into the world, it would have been actively making the world like a darker place. So that held us back for like a long time. We were like, we can't do this. We shouldn't do this. But then, yeah, literally a couple of years ago, like the hype for Dreams starts getting like really big, and literally I started to think like this is going to be like a good sort of gap. This is like a niche game. Like a lot of people are getting really excited for it. I've been playing Media Molecule games since I was 16. Obviously, with Little Big Planet. It's pretty much when we first met, wasn't it? That was starting to get big.
Wait, did you meet in the game or did you meet?
Oh, God, no.
No.
That would have been the cutest love story ever.
It really would have. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we'll change it now. Yeah, we met in Little Big Planet. Yeah, I made a community level and Sam wandered in. Yeah.
It was the only one without penises. So
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I was there in the beginning, like the Dreams beta, like all there was penis level. It was great. Why did they even shut those down? But no, like, yeah, so obviously, like, we started playing Little Big Planet together and stuff like that. And then I was really excited for when Dreams was coming out. And most of the people I talk to, I'm sure you guys have the same thing about Dreams in real life. They look at you like you're a crazy hobo murderer. They're like, what is this game? It's not gonna be big. And I was just like, no, I'm really confident it's gonna make something of an impact. So yeah, we wanted to make up a channel where we'd basically just be playing Dreams and talking about it. And it's about a year and a half we've been doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we've started like change up our videos a little bit. We've started to make like we made the 10-year plan video talking about the future of Dreams and stuff like that. So we're doing more investigative stuff and putting more of our personal opinions out there. And the feedback we've had is really good.
Awesome. Well, now that we've gotten that through, and now no matter what, if someone asks me about the episode, I'm going to say that y'all met in Little Big Planet. Like, I'm just going to change your origin and be like, it's the sweetest, cutest thing ever. And so I guess we're going to show the main screen. Like I said, it switched up a little from last week, everybody, because we're going with the horizontal. And I had to change around all my settings, but it works. So, and for people listening to podcasts, just ignore everything I just said. So I guess my first question for you is, like, what does Dreams mean to you? Now, this is a question we ask everyone, but I'm expecting quite a different answer from you guys. The core of your YouTube channel is based not in the creation of Dreams, but kind of the promotion of the game itself and your interactions with it. So unlike someone like me who hopes to use it as a tool to break through into a medium that's out of my price and resource range, you seem to be more focused and enthralled by the game itself as a never-ending source of content. Is that a fair assessment?
Definitely, yeah. So for me, it's a case of I'm just super cheap, and I see Dreams as it was a one-time investment of like I bought it for I think it was like 35 quid or something, 35 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be content for years and years. And okay, yeah, a lot of the levels and stuff you play, they don't match AAA games. They're not meant to. But like when it's like a Sunday and there's not like been a big release or something, there's nothing I love more than just jumping onto Dreams. And just like sometimes it's a nightmare. Sometimes it's like nightmare fuel. Some of the stuff you come across, and that's brilliant. That's brilliant. You're literally seeing like the inner workings of like crazy people.
It takes you
Yeah.
completely by surprise, doesn't it? You can go into one thing expecting something and get something completely different.
It's brilliant. And then obviously there is like really good content that people make and stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like it's a really cheap game to buy, and you've got like so much content. And that is pretty much like how I use Little Big Planet. Like I got Little Big Planet when I was 16. I made like a token like level as everyone did. I wasn't that good at creation, but like what I loved is the curation, and I loved like just finding the random stuff people did.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're very much like in the mindset of there's tons of people. So many of the content creators for Dreams literally make content using the game. But there's not like a wealth of people actually just playing Dreams. And you really do need that, because obviously if everyone's making stuff but no one's actually playing it, it's kind of like it's not a good sort of end result. So like,
yeah,
I do feel like we kind of help fill that gap, and we do really enjoy promoting Dreams, especially ones which haven't got the attention they deserve. We played a horror game. I can't think what it's called now. I think they changed the title. It's called like Night of the Cannibal. It was released like a year ago. It's really, really good. And like almost like professional quality, I think, and it's got like 30 likes. It's ridiculous. So anytime we come across a dream like that and we can try and give it a bit more publicity, like that's obviously something we love to do.
Okay, so well, everyone we've had on the show, and and countless other dreamers, as you just went over, like you see something great about Dreams pretty much every time you turn it on, as long as you have eyes. But I've had my mind blown with what I've seen people create. But what have you seen in Dreams, including how it's used outside of Dreams, that has blown your mind? Like it's been the most impressive thing to you?
Like the Noah Cyrus video.
Oh, like that sort of stuff's crazy. Yeah, just like
the fact that someone has bought this £30 game and like they could make something that could be potentially a music video is incredible.
Yeah, the fact that Sony's working with these people, they made the Jumanji game as well, and it's like everyone needs to put in perspective that it's still very, very early days for Dreams, and it's like it's the first 7 months. This is what we say in the 10-year video, and people are. There are all these crazy stuff's happening, and what is this product going to look like in 5 years' time? What are people going to be doing with it in 5 years' time? And we were hearing like about these artists and stuff that they're using Dreams to like do concept models before they do it professionally and stuff. It's full on crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the basis for that question is the fact that, I mean, everybody knows Martin Nebelong, and we've mentioned him countless times on here. But the fact that he's using Dreams as a platform to complete like actual client commercial work and stuff like that, it's just like the implications of that for Dreams really expands it into something that should be touted. And I feel like I don't know if we need to say something to Media Molecule to be like, hey, push this. Like, I feel like they're doing everything they can, and it's kind of on Sony to do it. But like, I really do feel like there needs to be an uptick in really pushing what this game is, because right now the community is doing a lot of it. And, that it shows how much the community loves Dreams. But I don't know. Like, this game to me is it's the greatest thing to come to a console in my life just because of based off of the possibilities of it. And
I will say that I wish Dreams had come out like 10 years earlier, because
oh,
I consider
definitely.
myself an old man now. Like, I got Little Big Planet when I was 16, so you can run the numbers to work out how old I am now, and it's like I just don't have the time. Like, I really would. I wish I had, like, 50 hours a week to put into Dreams to properly learn the tool set, so I could make my own game, to do stuff like that. But it's just a case of yeah, I just wish it came out 10 years ago when I had like a summer holidays to play it.
Oh, so Eddie in our chat was saying that yeah, Martin already works uh, with them with Media Molecule and for them already, as we have seen and as you mentioned in the video of
Yeah.
Dreams Dying, that they're picking up basically the talent that their game has created, and or that people who have shown through in from the game. So I did not know that he was part of the Noah Cyrus or like her video. I didn't know he had worked on that, but that's
And the
pretty.
Jumanji, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumanji
That-
as well.
To where?
He worked on the Jumanji one as well.
Oh, the Jumanji one. That I can believe. um,
What's
yeah.
crazy, though, is you have like a professional artist like that that's like obviously using Dreams to make this. The flip side of the coin, I have no artistic skills whatsoever. I can't use Photoshop. I can't do any sort of animation tools. But I've used Dreams, and I've used it to like make a logo for our channel, and we've got like a simple animation for our channel. And I couldn't do that with 2 weeks with like a laptop and 50 quid, but like I did it in like a day using Dreams. So like that should say,
Yeah.
it says it right there.
Yeah, and he says that without a doubt, Martin is doing more to promote Dreams in the art world than anyone else. See, but that's where it's not a problem to promote in the art world, but it's kind of like when you're a movie buff like me and you talk about the finer things in film. When people make a film, they're not trying to sell it to their fans. They're trying to sell it to the masses. So while all of us within Dreams know Martin, and you're like, he's the final boss of Dreams, the the masses are what make you a success or a failure. And I know for a fact, because I try to bring as many people, like my friends, into the game as possible. They don't know. Like, most of them still don't know that Dreams exist or what's possible for it. And so that's what I get worried about, as far as, and I'm using this to segue into what the majority of this podcast is probably going to be about, which is the future of Dreams. And, I mean, they have a great base, and I think they have an install base that will make it so that we don't have to worry about whether or not it's quote unquote dying. But it all comes down to how it's played from here on out. Like every step from here on, I feel, is like one step away from the nail in the coffin. And do you agree with that or disagree with that, or do you think I'm making it sound too dire because my voice is overall has a stick up its ass? Like, how do you?
I think it's not just you. I think there is a general sense of that within the community at the moment, and I think you're completely right. There's a solid base for Dreams. It's got a solid audience, and I hope it is growing sort of month by month. But the whole we're one day away from some catastrophe and it all falls down. It happened with Project Spark on Xbox. It's like, I get really nervous that we're like a month and a half away from PlayStation 5 now, and we haven't had any concrete details of the PS5 version of Dreams. But you have to remember, we haven't really had, apart from Spider-Man, we haven't had any information from any of Sony's first-party titles on PS4. But yeah, it does feel as though it kind of feels like we're in like a precarious situation, doesn't it? Like a little bit.
Yeah.
And
You see, I think they're holding out because I don't think Sony has finished announcing anything yet in regards to the PS5.
I hope so.
And I personally think that Dreams is one of their secret weapons, where they're just going to bring out this announcement of Dreams on PS5, showcase all the amazing stuff that's been made on PS4, and then announce that in the future, because I don't think they'd do anything drastic straight away because of splitting the community. We've discussed this in the past. But I think they will announce that eventually X feature, and X feature is going to come to Dreams because of the power of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And I think that will be done to try and push the Dreams community to migrate to the new system, so that once they've pretty much got 95% of their player base on the PS5, they can then implement all these new features that would benefit the players and creators, because obviously there's a massive hardware upgrade with the new
See,
console.
I agree with you, and I hope you're right, because like the fear I have, the biggest warning sign I'll get is if one day Media Molecule just post on Twitter and they're like, okay, so Dreams will be live on PlayStation November 30th. It'll be live, and that's it. And it's just like a shrug of the shoulders. You can play it on PS5 now. It needs to come with like
Yeah.
the oomph.
And I think it will, because I mean Sony has give them an extremely heavy budget for this game, and they've given them an extremely long lifespan for the game as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't really hear many games that get a budget for a 10-year life cycle. I mean, there are some, but it's
Yeah.
not something that sort of goes around every day, you know?
Yeah.
Most games have, you know, a 2-year life cycle, 3-year life cycle, except for things like Fortnite and stuff like that, where it has that longevity built into the system itself. But with Dreams, it was a gamble in itself whether it was going to work. You know, if you think of a battle royale, as long as you make it right, it's going to work, because that's what people want to play. If
Yeah.
it's something easy and they know is successful already, something like Dreams hasn't been done before. I mean, you mentioned Project Spark, and I'm glad you did, because I was actually one of the people that bought an Xbox specifically for that, and I found it awful. It was just terrible. It really was. Nothing against Xbox at all.
See,
but-
I never. Go on.
But I found it extremely limiting in the fact that with Dreams, whatever you literally think of, you can create, providing you have the skill level for it. With Project Spark, it was more of building an idea around the assets that already belonged in the system,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of makeshifting stuff to try and fit the type of vision that you had. And everything sort of had that same art style, and I don't know, I just found it extremely limiting. It was like it was designed for a specific genre of game, and it was more of a publicity stunt than it was to actually develop a full gaming platform within a system.
Definitely. Well, that's the perfect example there. Sparks it was invented, developed with like a 1 year life cycle maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have took off and they could have done content packs and stuff, but the base game.
And that's what I mean. They never intended for it to be anything longer than what it was, which was pretty much a gimmick.
Yeah.
Whereas with Dreams, you know, Sony's given them a 10-year life cycle. So to have a 10-year life cycle, you also have to have a 10-year budget, not only to power the salary of all the people that work there and the expenses to keep the game going, but also to enhance the game and promote the hell out of it. So I really doubt that Dreams is going to go anywhere anytime soon. And I really do think that they've got some tricks up their sleeve that they're holding out for until the really close to release point comes into play.
And I want to propose one more thing that I've asked other people. Now, like I said, a lot of these questions I'm going over because we've spoken with big creators and not necessarily content spokespeople for Dreams. So I expect a little bit of a different answer here. But what if they unleash all this big stuff and it divides the player base? How do you feel about that? If PS5's version of Dreams, which you can upgrade to, like, you know, supposedly for free, what if those big things that become available split the player base? Do you see that as a good or bad thing? If it's actually pushing it to the next stage.
I think that it is. People aren't going to like this, but I think it's inevitable. I think inevitably you're going to have to split the community, because at the end of the day, the PS4, I love the PS4, love it. It sounds like a jet engine when you play Dreams. It is a 10-year-old piece of technology, and if this is a system which is meant to be carried forward for the next 10 years, it's limited. It's limited on PS4. I think what Media Molecule are doing at the moment is they're trying to keep things as open as possible. That's why you can develop Dreams on a PS4 Pro. You can play it on the PS4 and it runs really badly. It runs like crap sometimes because of the frame rate. The same thing with the VR headsets. People can make VR experiences. You can play. I have a base PS4. I play. It's not limiting me from the content. There's like literally a message will come up and it will say, you can play this Dream, but be warned, like it may not run properly because your console's old basically. And
you play it on trash. That's what... No, sorry, that's just in my brain. But see, go ahead.
Go on.
No. Go ahead.
I think that when the PS5 comes out, I think for the first couple of years it will be like that. I think you can make a PS5 Dream, and you can probably play it on a PS4, and it's going to run like bad, but it's going to run crap. But eventually, there's going to have to be some sort of cutoff point. There was a cutoff point from like Little Big Planet 2 to Little Big Planet 1. So like you could make Dreams in Little Big Planet 2 and they were backwards compatible. Like you could play the old, you could make Dreams. You could play the old Little Big Planet levels in Little Big Planet 2, but I don't know. Because they updated like their graphics systems and stuff. And it's like, I can't see in 5 years time, if you make a Dream on PS5, it can still work on PS4 to like any sort of sensible quality.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. In 5 years' time, I mean, I really don't expect anyone to still be playing PS4 at that point.
I think, I mean, PS4 had one of its biggest selling years this year. Like, even though PS5 is coming out, and I think a lot more people dabble in past consoles as affordability more than maybe you might, more than you might think they do. But my main thing is just, we've talked with this, and like I said, countless people, but I kind of have this snobby attitude about games as far as like old versus new. For me, like, I know nobody in the community wants the community to be split. That goes for me as well. But if you're capable of, like, first of all, PS4 and Dreams is doing things that are breaking people's minds. So you're not getting really left out. You'll still be able to create. And I intend to be playing Dreams for as long as there's a PlayStation. Like, that's just my thoughts on it. It's too good of an engine to really get rid of at this point. But like I said, I get kind of snobbish where I'm just like, if PS4 is holding Dreams back, I'd rather them cut PS4 than basic. Yeah. And believe me, I understand this. And as everyone knows, I get to like, I'm used to having people be like, this dude is crazy. Like, like, especially on this podcast, but it's just how I am. Like, it's like when you go into the next generation of gaming, it's always bothered me, and PlayStation reneged on this. Sony reneged on this just recently. But when you go into the next generation, if you spend $500 for a console, you want next generation. Like, you don't want to have what could have been cross your mind every time you think about how, I mean, Cyberpunk is the same way. Like, Cyberpunk was literally bricking Xbox Ones and was barely running on PlayStation 4s. And they like have finally downed it enough to make it so it'll work. And my whole thought is, why? Just bring it out as a next gen game, because I want to see how big or how far you can take it, not how much you can compensate. And that's just how I feel. Even if I couldn't afford, I might not be able to afford it, but even if I can't afford, to go next gen yet, that gives me something to look forward to, as opposed to getting a lesser, what I would consider a lesser product. It's why I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, and I won't play Cyberpunk until I get the next gen, because it will look better. It'll be the better experience all around. So I mean, given that I just gone on this whole rant and tirade, how do you feel about
I mean, I completely agree. Like, some of the people I've talked to like disagree with me here, but like, I'm interested to see what you think of this. I was really, really disappointed when a week ago I found out that Spider-Man Miles Morales was going to be cross-gen
Yeah, I'm
because
so disappointed.
I saw that on the initial like launch for PlayStation 5, and I was like, I'm sold. They're going to make a next-gen Spider-Man game. It doesn't matter if it's like if it's an expansion or if it's a Lost Legacy style like update. As long as
Yeah.
it's next gen, it's Spider Man. I'm there day one. It's going to be great. And then as soon as I found out it's on PS4, I understand why they do that from a business perspective because obviously PS4 has a massive user base and they're gonna make a lot of money from it. But in my head, I can't help but think like, what are they going to have to compensate in order to get onto the PS4? When people thought that Horizon, the new Horizon, was going to be an exclusive game, everyone in their head was imagining flying mounts and stuff like that because of the way the next gen technology would be. That's something the developers have said they couldn't do on PS4. And now all of a sudden we found out that game's cross gen as well, and it's like, so is there not going to be flying mounts? Is it going to be limited? Like, what do you think?
No,
Yeah.
you see, I agree with you that it shouldn't be on the previous generation of console, but like you say, from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense because of the user base is just so huge. But what I think they could do as a strategy to make you move is once you see the differential differences in Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS4 against PS5 as sort of a side-by-side comparison, it's going to be literally black and white. It's going to be day and night in difference compared to the graphical fidelity between the two consoles. And obviously, in all these trailers for these next-gen games, they're obviously showing you the best version of the game possible. So then when you actually get that game on PS4, it's going to be so underwhelming because you've been so used to all this beautiful ray tracing and lovely shadowing and beautiful lights and things that you've seen on the trailers for the PS5 version. They're going to get the sale for the PS4 version, but then also get the motivation from the player to upgrade because of how much of a downgrade the PS4 version is. So that way they get the best of both worlds. They get the sales on both platforms and the motivation to upgrade to their newest product.
Yeah.
So I mean, and how does that wrap back around to what we were originally saying with Dreams? Like, I know you said Jamie, you said you don't want to, split the community base, but if it's holding back the power of the PS5, like what the PS5 can bring to Dreams, does that change your mind at all? Also, feel free to answer as well, guys.
It does change my mind a bit. I mean, I think for Dreams to evolve and get better, and it's inevitable that Dreams is going to evolve, it's never going to be a finished product. It's always something that's always in development because of the type of thing that it is. For that to get better, we need the players to move to the next generation of system. So if there is a happy medium where the games can still run on PS4, but if you want all these extra features, you're going to have to move to PS5 because it's the only way for it to run, then I'd be fine with that because then the community can make their own choice. If these creators want these new features, they're going to move. I mean, let's be honest, for the experience that you have in Dreams is worth the money to upgrade to the latest console to be able to get the new features from it. I mean, think of the money that people spend on training for like Unreal and all these other type of engines. People spend a fortune to get trained up to use that, and it can take twice the length of time that it does to learn in Dreams. I mean, I find Dreams one of the most fastest systems or engines rather to build a proof of concept. I mean, literally, if you know your skills good enough, you can build a character within half an hour.
Even if you don't.
Yeah, or even if you don't. Exactly. I mean, it's unprecedented the speed that you can run within Dreams. So, if there is an incentive to upgrade while still retaining the community and the games within Dreams PS4, then I'd be fine with that. But I think it's inevitable at some point they're just going to have to migrate over to the next generation of console and maybe just stop updating PS4 Dreams and only start to update PS5 Dreams so that PS4 Dreams still works, but you're not going to get any more updates because the team has moved on to the next generation of console and we have to spend all our resources on that.
Yeah.
So there's different things that I can see them doing where they still support to a certain extent the PS4 version, but all the attention is obviously on the PS5 version, and so the community will just gradually migrate over to the new system, and eventually they'll just make the PS4 version redundant.
Yeah. And thoughts, you guys? Do you
I'm
just
happy for the split.
You want the split? You want the
I want the split.
cold hard split?
Well, I think it needs to be broken up sooner.
Do it
I think
yesterday.
it's too clicky at the moment. I think.
Shut down PS4 dreams now. That's what we're saying.
right now before you even get the PS5? Just shut it down.
Do it now.
Make them wait.
You turn on your PlayStation tomorrow, and there's a message from Media Molecule. Sorry, kids, it's over. Buy a PS5 and experience next-gen dreams.
Yes.
I think the people who are in deep in the community who love the game will invest and they'll move with it.
I don't know. Don't you remember when like early access went to like the full game, and how angry like some people were that like some people were so angry that like they hadn't got into early access, and now that like they weren't going to get dreams like a week early or something. Like people like just get really selfish and attached to their own needs.
Mm.
Did you guys see that? Like when the game first launched, Media Molecule were like, oh, if you had early access, you're going to get the game. Was it a week early? Or was it a few days early?
Yeah, and it was also a free upgrade.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah, and everyone just went like mental about it. I think it'd be a similar thing on if it moved to like PS5. There'd be a load of people that were like, "Hang on, I bought this game on PS4. You've updated it for like a year. Like, why are you like abandoning us now?"
I mean, I'm sure they could still do quality of life updates for it, and it'd probably be easier to do those. But, you know, some of the bigger stuff, I mean, let's be real. Like, I built my computer 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And almost 8 now. My computer can still play any game that comes out anywhere, basically. And I feel like I was always above the PS4 because of what I had at my capability. Now, it took me a long time to put together this computer. I'm not trying to say like, ooh, I just splurged and went out and bought this gaming PC. You know, I'm not that way.
Gold.
Yeah, yes, solid gold. But I feel like this is the first time that PC gaming and consoles are going to be, at least in the beginning, on even footing. And I think that the new consoles have to really show that. And so that's why I have an issue with them like holding things back, because it's just like, this is where y'all can finally be like, hey, you know, you want those top new graphics cards, those GPUs that, you know, make you soft and then hard again. Like, if like just buy one of these, like, it's fine. But, you know, I feel like the longer they try to cater to like both the Xbox and PlayStation, like the longer you try to cater to both gens, it makes you jump out, like come out the gate weak. And I'm just not a fan of that overall. And so like as it comes for back, you know, full circle to Dreams, anything that can make Dreams better. And I understand if no one agrees with me. I'm telling you, I understand. But anything that can make Dreams stronger, I say do it. And of course, they have money on the line, so they're not going to. But if they said, you know, we're announcing all this stuff because we were told by Alex, you know, before he left, that they're working on some crazy stuff. Yeah. And like that it's outside of like what everyone thinks it's going to be. It's much bigger than what everybody's guessing it could be. Even though people just want these simple little things, he's like, it's bigger than that. And the idea that it might be bigger than that, but they might have to hold off on implementing it because of power restrictions, that just doesn't sit right. That, like, you know, yeah, it just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm just like, you know, sometimes you just gotta want. And like, that's for everybody that's like, well, I can't make the switch. You'll still have Dreams. you'll still have a thing that people are creating ultra realism on without any updates. Like, I feel like that's enough, personally.
People need to understand that if there is going to be a 10-year plan for Dreams, and if it does go the distance, every like 3 years, I expect Dreams to look like drastically different. I expect what we've got now. I don't know if this is true. This is just my own personal sort of pet theory. I think that like internally at Media Molecule, they might even still consider the game to be in something of like an early access mode still.
I totally see it as still early access, 100%.
They're still working on main features. They're still working on like the VR, the multiplayer and stuff.
I mean, the way I see it is like I said before, is the game is never going to stop being developed. It's never going to be finished because it's not a game. It never was a game. It never was intended to be a game. It is a game engine or an engine to create media with.
Mm.
It has the ability to play the games and media that people create on it, but still, I don't class Dreams as a game at all. It is an engine. And with all engines, they're never finished. They're always updating them. They're always developing new features and adding new stuff to them. And Dreams is no different than that. But I think the problem with the whole community split thing as well, in my opinion, is the community itself that is attached to Media Molecule is unlike any other community that I've experienced in the gaming world. There is such a connection between developer and player with Media Molecule that it's just I've never seen anything like it. I mean, if Dreams was made by Ubisoft, they would just do the split. They would just do the split straight off and be like, "No, you've got to move to PS5 or you don't play it." It's as simple as that. Because
you've won me over. I changed my whole stance.
But with Media Molecule, I don't know. It's just like I think that they're more concerned about their player base than their bank and what's in it. Because there's I appreciate that. Yes, they are a business, and Sony's going to be on their ass if they're not earning money. But as a group, a collective of people, their money is not their first interest. I don't think they even care about the money. They are just creative people that want to create something for people to create with, and then they have the business people to deal with all the money side of it. So I think they're more concerned about the split than anybody else is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and I think
could see that.
I think it's going to be a battle between the core Media Molecule developers that we all know and Sony businessmen that need the migration to work for commerce reasons. I think they're going to be having a bit of a fight as to what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we haven't heard nothing, because Media Molecule is scared that they're going to tarnish their reputation with their community. Because at the end of the day, without any community, Dreams would not work.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with it, but unless they've got players creating and players playing, Dreams doesn't work. So the community is the most important aspect of this whole project. And if they piss off the community, that's a big, big thing to do, because that can mess up everything with their whole business plan.
But they have so much goodwill. Could they piss off the community? I mean, a normal developer, yeah, like I said, like you brought up the Ubisoft and you know, that immediately made me like, yeah, I don't want them to be viewed like Ubisoft. But like, I feel like everyone in the community right now, which goes against my whole marketing thing I was talking about earlier, I think everyone in the community now would understand if they made the switch. I don't think they can piss people off to the level I
think you underestimate people, because at the end of the day,
never.
Yes, let's just say they made the split, right? And let's just say people that never owned a PlayStation before bought a PlayStation this year, a PS4 this year, specifically for Dreams. If they then go and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, we appreciate you being on Dreams for a year, but if you want to continue playing it, you got to give 500 quid for the new console. That's going to piss them off, regardless of how much they love Media Molecule.
I mean, but that's an extreme. That's an extreme.
But you got to understand that not everyone is going to upgrade to PS5 day one. People are going to wait a couple of years until the system has evolved and You know, because we see it with the PS4. I mean, look at the titles we've received within the last 2 years. They're the best titles we've ever had in gaming because the developers have had enough time to learn the PS4's architecture and get the most out of the system. And most people will wait until those type of games show up on next gen. So not everyone is going to be migrating to PS5 immediately. And then
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's
I
not-
mean, I'm not saying shut the whole thing down though. I'm just saying like if there's a level that they can get to that's part of their actual like we need to implement this, but in order to do it, we need the power of the PS5. Like that like if it's between them not giving it to us because they don't like they're worried about fracturing the base, if the base can't understand that, then I think there needs to be a conversation in the base, not with them. Like I'm not because I mean we're not talking about like he said turning the switch and then all of a sudden it's like you can't play Dreams on PS4 anymore. Like we're not talking about that, I don't think. But it just come I don't think if we are then I'll readjust. But it's just like if I can have something that is a big upgrade to quality of life, I think that if you love the game, even as the base, like, because I love it enough to where I'm complete shit at it. like, I mean, to be fair, like I still create, but I'm nowhere near even a lot of these people. But it's just like if something can be done to make it better. My simple point is that if the base gets mad at them for using the power that they have to make it better, then I have a problem with the base.
I think the vast majority of the base won't care, and I think they will upgrade to PS5. But I think there are going to be some like vocal minorities, and Media Molecule are going to lose people along the way because even when they did the VR update, there was like people with like very big figures in the community that weren't happy about that, and they said this is going to split the community up.
Yeah,
That's just one update. That's just one different type of content, let alone having like a whole different system to play on.
yeah. I mean, I remember the videos that came out because there were big content creators on YouTube that basically who also create within Dreams that were just like, it seems nobody cares except for the VR stuff now. So I'm just going to go away for, a few weeks or some said a month or two, and I get that. But like I said, it's just like Ledbetter said in chat. It's like, yeah, then it's the base holding back Media Molecule's potential. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all because I feel like those people that would threaten to leave, you were looking for a reason, in my opinion. Like you were waiting for something to get outraged about so that you could dip. Because if you love the game like I love the game, and like I know other people love this game, I mean, like I said, you've seen what people can create on PS4. They like an upgrade in PS5 does not negate what you can still create in PS4. So just continue to create. That's how I feel. Anyway. So I want to let them, because we've gone back and forth and, Ugly Silver Game, and they've jumped in here and there. But is there something like a topic that either, you, Lee, or Sam, that y'all want to talk about? Like something that, like, I don't know, go anywhere. We're giving you the chance.
You got something you want to talk about?
No. Do you want to talk more about your Dreams Pro idea? Or no?
Oh my god, yeah. So we've obviously done the big video about like 10-year plan. At the very end of the plan, it's this concept like this is really where I think it will go. Like one day, if not this exactly, it'll be some form of this where you will have the ability to export the Dreams creations you make outside of the system, and I think it's going to be called something like Dreams Pro, something like that. It's going to come with a subscription model, so you're going to have to pay something like probably like 10 quid a month, something like that, and that sounds really expensive, and a lot of people are going to be like, I'm out at this. But it's not going to be based at the moment. I think Dreams is based at. I think it is like a retail game, and it's based at people who want to play games or want to make games, like sort of on their sofa. This is going to be a professional, more of a professional product, and this is going to be for someone that actually wants to make a business out of like making dreams and stuff. And so the licensing fee that leads to like a subscription model. And yeah, at that point, that's when Dreams could get crazy, because that's where you can literally make a song in Dreams. You've got the license, you've literally got the rights to take that outside of it, and you can sell it to Spotify. You can make an album, you can make a 3D model, and you can print it off and you can sell them. You can make a game and you could sell it to Microsoft. You could sell it to Steam.
Okay, here is where I'm going to chip in on that. And I've always said this will happen, and just thinking about it now sort of ties in with what I was saying earlier, with Sony holding back until sort of the final release stage of the PS5 to announce something big with Dreams. So I've always had this idea that with the PS5, Sony will incorporate Dreams engine directly onto the console itself. And with the Dreams engine embedded into the system, with the PS5, they could easily announce a feature where you can export your Dreams games directly to the PlayStation Network, to the store, so that people can play your games even if they don't have a copy of Dreams, simply because the Bubble Bath engine is pre-installed on the system, and that's what will run the exported version of your game. And I think that's something that they would definitely do, because if they did, there would obviously be a threshold to quality. It would have to meet a certain level of expertise, and it would have to go through a debugging process and obviously things like that. But if they did something like that for this version of Dreams now, and that ability was exclusive to the PS5 because the PS5 comes pre-installed with the Bubble Bath engine, that alone would be a massive thing for people to upgrade to, because it's an amazing feature that's only possible on the new hardware. But not only that, it's sort of the first steps towards what you said with a pro version where you can export the games. They can pretty much acquire thousands of indie developers for free.
Yes.
Because if, like, with us at Lucid Nebula Studios, we're developing our game at the moment. And if the ability to export that game to the PlayStation Store became a thing with the PS5, I know for an absolute certainty we're going to do it. I mean, why wouldn't you? You'd be mad not to. I mean, all these people that are creating games because they want to show people what they're made of. And if Sony gives us that option to upload them to the store, you know, we're going to just see a whole Dream section on the PlayStation Store of playable games. And it's great for people that don't have Dreams to be able to see this content and play it. But I think you're right with the fact that eventually it'll come to the point that they can export to all these different platforms. But this way would be a great starting point to test the waters with that.
The narrative we kind of like go through in this 10-year video is pretty similar to that, actually. It's a slightly different variation on the idea, but it basically starts off as Dreams is a retail release, and it's there to support the PlayStation 5. It's there to support the hardware like PSVR. And then as you get into it, it becomes this is what we talk about in the video. It becomes this linchpin of what Yoshida's new job is, which he's like the head of PlayStation Indies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's this whole initiative, and every games company needs to be focusing on indies, because that's where a lot of the new ideas come from. And as we saw in the last week, where Microsoft just bought Bethesda, and that's something like 12 development studios Sony's just potentially just lost to like exclusivity. You have to have fresh ideas, and you have to have new experiences being generated from somewhere. So we sort of talk about how Yoshida's heavily involved in the Dreams project, because when he got this new title of this head of PlayStation Indies, it was after that he appeared on the Impi Awards, and he was still talking about Dreams and stuff. So he's still very much in the loop of it, and I think it's going to be a big deal. I think I don't know exactly how it's going to work. The way we consider it in the video is we kind of guess that at the moment, Media Molecule is like they've got their eyes on certain creators. This like when they were doing the MP Awards. What was the other thing they did? Dreamscom, was it?
Dreamscom.
Yeah.
When they did Dreamscom, I saw someone on Twitter was like, "Oh, how do I get my trailer on Dreamscom?" And Media Molecule was like, "Oh, well, anyone can make a booth, but we've actually already selected some trailers." So that to me, that says they already know the community, which they obviously do. They know the right people to talk to, and I think
Yeah.
over the years that's going to be expanded upon. I don't know if immediately it's going to be sort of like an open source thing where you can develop a dream and you can just sell it to PlayStation or put it on the store. I think it's going to be more of a case of Media Molecule will handpick people and they'll be like, we want you, you, and you, and you can form a team if you want, and you guys are going to, if you want to, you can make a game, and they'll support them and they'll project manage them and they'll give them guidance and stuff. And I think eventually you're going to see stuff like, you're going to see titles like Limbo. You're going to see something like that, and it's going to be like, this was made with the Dreams engine by these people with Media Molecule supervision, and this is a game you can now buy on PlayStation for like £5. And I think that's how it starts. And hopefully, what the idea you suggest is eventually where it goes, where it does become sort of more open source. But yeah, inevitably, I would hope it goes to a point where, like we said, with this sort of licensing idea, where you can just do it independently, so you don't have to do it in Sony's closed system anymore. You can make a game, you can export it, I should say, and you can do whatever you want with it.
You see, I don't know what to think about that, because
Sorry, I did some crazy stuff.
as much as it makes sense for them to create a pro version of Dreams to export out of the whole Dream side, so they can go on Steam, Xbox, Switch, mobile, whatever they want to do, I don't know whether they would do that, because what they've got is something very special, and it's not available on the competitor side. And as far as I believe, they have no intention of competing with Dreams or making anything like it. I mean, they've tried it before and failed miserably, so I doubt they're going to pierce into that market again, especially with Dreams being so developed the way it is now. I don't think they would be happy to push that out to other platforms when they can make it a console exclusive experience. It's sort of a selling point, really, when they can say, so this is the PS5, and it's the only console in existence that you can create games on the system and then have those games on the store. Yeah. That's a big selling point. Just, you know, they could easily market that to say the PS5, the only console in existence to develop games and release games within the entire system.
What if they added it to Plus? What if they added it to Plus, and this is the long game to create Game Pass?
Now, you see, they've already said that they have no intention on creating their own Game Pass.
Well, they said that, but maybe not in the same way as Game Pass was created. But I think you'd have a better, for now, I think you'd have a better chance at creating what y'all are talking about if it could already, or if it could basically start to generate return for them. Like, and then build into it. Because literally what it's coming down to is that what y'all are talking about, I see it as it's definitely possible, especially if Media Molecule is reaching out to people and saying, you know, you and you make something and then we're going to put it out in the store. But I think what would be more genuine or more organic to lead to bigger things is if they didn't have anything to do with it, but it became something that kind of like just grew within the community. Because the way I see Dreams is it's you said that it's an engine. I see it as an engine with a YouTube content display. Like, because it's basically what it is. Like, you already have the content curation happening within this engine and archive. And I feel like that becomes a way that you can instantly grow it into something. But if you have people paying for individual games, I feel like the community as a whole would pretty much have to step up.
Now, you see, that's where I would contradict, and I would say that if that feature did come out, let's just say they bring out the ability to release games onto the store, providing that they met a personal threshold. I think the terms and conditions of that would be is that, for one, the game has to be released for free unless you are handpicked by Media Molecule, and like these guys have just said, where they would project manage you and help you along the way to develop the game. Unless you have that privilege of being handpicked, you can't charge anything for it. So you can release it, but there is no money involved. It's got to be free, and that way that doesn't affect the general community that will not get picked by Media Molecule. So it's just a cool thing to say, yeah, I've made a game and it's released on the PlayStation Store, and anyone with a PlayStation can play it. I mean, that's amazing, and I would happily do that with our game if we got the chance to do that. But the games that you would pay for are the ones that are specifically picked by Media Molecule. So, it's like a Netflix original then. They partner with that person to create an amazing game based on the concept that they've already developed within the platform.
And, well, I guess then it would come down to, if they handpicked it, it would have to meet certain requirements. So, okay. Because for me, just because a lot of people don't know, as we've talked about, like even PlayStation owners don't know what Dreams is. So if you tell them this is a game made from a game and they aren't familiar with what type of quality that can entail, it's a hard sell to have someone spend money on that. Whereas, especially with the level of marketing we have going on right now, like I don't even know how they're going to get that out in a good message. But like, as in, where if it's like this thing that you can just gets grouped in with PlayStation Plus, you already have PlayStation Plus and the growing catalog of the PlayStation titles, and then if among those it's like, hey, what's that game? And you might not even know it was made in Dreams, but it's at that point it becomes more content, and more content is easily sold. And so it's like they're getting their money off of it, and maybe they're kicking it to their developers, but it also, it just kind of melds it in with everything else to where it becomes like someone's going down the list looking for a game to play from the PS Plus collection, and hey, what's that? And I think you're right. It still would have to be kind of curated by Media Molecule to, display quality, I guess, which can mean a myriad of things. But yeah, I just feel like that's the easier integration than placing the games directly in a PlayStation store. If you get what I'm saying. I mean, what do you guys think, Lee and Sam?
I mean, going back to the point earlier about like getting Dreams sort of external and getting it, being able to export it, and obviously that could be a bad thing for PlayStation because, obviously, they have a console to sell and they want to keep you in their sort of ecosystem. The only way I picture this happening in my head is if Dreams does explode and it becomes so popular and it just basically has to snowball. And the example I'll give you is Minecraft, and it's basically would have to be doing sort of Minecraft type numbers. And Minecraft is a game that Xbox has bought. They've bought the licensing to it, the rights to it, all of that, and it's still multi-platform. Even though, imagine if Minecraft was the only console you can play Minecraft on as Xbox, that would be a massive feature seller for them. But they don't do it, and they don't do it because there's so much money to be lost by doing that. And I feel it could be the same thing for Dreams. When it comes to the Plus thing, it's like, again, the quality of the output has to be a lot different than it is now. Because at the moment, I love playing Dreams, and I love all of the sort of varying qualities we have of the games that are put out. But there's a lot, as you guys know, there's a lot more sort of rough and bad quality than there is like amazing stuff. And if, say, for example, tomorrow Sony said we've got our own version of Game Pass, and you can subscribe to it and you can play all of the Dreams creations for free, that would kind of be taken as a joke, I think, by like a lot of people in the community, because outside of the Dreams community, and I don't agree with this, people still don't really understand and they don't appreciate what can be done within Dreams. At the moment, all people are seeing is copies of IPs and they see vertical slices of demos. No one really understands. No one thinks you can make a game on Dreams. And the reason no one has done a full-scale game on Dreams yet is because it's only been out, like, if you include the early access, 2 years. And point to me a game that can be made in 2 years, you know, by a team of people. It's ridiculous. So you're going to have to wait on that score. But at the moment, we've got to be realistic. The outsider perspective of Dreams at the moment is not amazing. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't understand it, and I don't think it can produce quality content. And I don't think that's true, but that's the perception. So I don't know how much value like a PS Plus Game Pass could have at the moment, but in like sort of five years or so, 10 years, maybe. What do you think?
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing about the idea of putting things straight into the store without moderation and having those for free, I'm not sure that would work.
Oh, no.
Like you're giving out the player version of Dreams. So, for instance, we don't do much creating.
No.
So if all the decent Dreams creations were straight in the store for free,
it's kind of like that meme where it's like, isn't this just X with more steps? Because it's like, if you can have Dreams on the store, but the creators aren't making any money from them, it's basically just the same as having it in the ecosystem of Dreams. And it's
okay.
Go on, sir.
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, yeah, the game itself would be in the store, but by doing so, they would most likely be kicking money to the creators. Like, I mean, if it's a part of something and the company of Sony is benefiting from it, then money will be kicked back to the creators, or they literally are just asking for a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. So as far as that goes, yeah, like, you know, you wouldn't be giving them Dreams in the store. You'd be giving them a finished product game. And
I think at the moment it's a perception issue then, yeah, because if you offered that like tomorrow, I think people would see it as, a lot of people would see it as kind of a joke. So Sony needs to get the game to the point where it's like having polished content from Dreams as like a feature of like a Game Pass system that needs to be viewed through a different lens, and we need to get the quality to that point.
I argue that
oh, here we go.
I argue that the only way to change that perception is with something like this.
Yeah.
Something where people can come into it. I see you in chat. I use the word argue loosely. This is a family friendly channel. It's not, but we try to be. But it's simply like the only way to change that is through accessibility. Like a moment ago when you brought up Minecraft. Minecraft is bigger than Dreams because of its accessibility. The fact that you can play it literally on a toaster oven with a like 80s GPU strapped to the side of it. And the fact that that's possible... The fact that that's possible makes it so that anyone can do it. And it, like you said, it's on Xbox. It's on multiple platforms where people can do it. Dreams is on PlayStation. That's it. So the only chance you have to, in my opinion, turn around the perception of Dreams is to make it more accessible. I've heard, as we all have, multiple times that people are like, well, I'm not interested in Dreams because I can't create that. And because of the varying styles that exist within Dreams, maybe if they saw some of the low poly or had access to, you know, games where they're like, well, you know, I might not be, you know, Bad Robo out here, you know, creating super ultra realism, but this game, I think I can make that, but they'll never see it, and they won't get that inspiration to try if they have to go all in on the game before they get inspired to do so. So
What was a
that would
missed
be
opportunity. Imagine this. Imagine if the PS5 event that was like a couple of weeks ago. Imagine if there'd been like a new game, and it's unknown to us, but Sony set up an indie team somewhere. It could be professional developers, it could have been people from the community, whatever. But there's a game that comes on screen, and it blows people away. It's like it looks artistically good. It's got like fresh, innovative ideas and stuff. And everyone's like, "Wow, this game looks really good." And then at the very end of the trailer, it could come up on the screen, develop using Dreams. And it's not Media Molecule, it's some other studio that's been set up. That would have been, I think that was a missed opportunity. If they'd have done that, that would have like blown people's minds.
You see, that's what I think they can do by releasing these titles on the PlayStation Store, because they will be under like the new indie section, and once you finish playing the game that's been exported from Dreams, like especially for someone that doesn't know what Dreams is, or knows what it is but hasn't really looked into it, and they've downloaded this game for free and they've played through it, and at the end of every game that's exported from Dreams, there is a mandatory splash screen that comes up at the end that says "Made in Dreams," and then this video plays showing you what Dreams is, and then an in link that you can go to the store to buy Dreams. That would have the same effect, and especially for players that are not convinced that Dreams is a thing, if they start playing these good quality indie style games on the PlayStation Store and then only realize after they finish playing it that, oh my god, that was made in Dreams.
Yeah.
You can still get that effect from that.
Well, I mean, I've just enjoyed this conversation. I love the back and forth. I love the throwing around ideas. I'm feeling invigorated.
I just wish I could just go down to Guildford into their office and say, what are you guys doing? Just let me know. Is this going to happen? Like,
the whole invigoration thing, that's kind of the reason we made the 10-year plan videos, because there was this growing sort of, I don't want to call it dissent, but there was a lot of people in the community that were like, oh, Dreams needs to go free to play, Dreams needs a multiplayer, and there was all this. The video is kind of ironically titled "Is Dreams Dying?" because we cover really quickly in it that we don't think Dreams is dying, that it's in there for this long 10-year stretch, and we made the video for the purpose of trying to get people excited again and basically try and inspire people, say, in 2 years this could happen, in 3 years this could happen, in 10 years you could be making your own game using Dreams and selling it for actual money. So this whole sense of like trying to get people excited about Dreams again is definitely one of the things we were trying to do with the video.
Yeah, and I would say it's just, that video is fantastic. For those that don't know what we're talking about, Ugly Sofa Gaming is on YouTube. For if you didn't know, yeah, that they're on YouTube and really just going over games. And there's a video, about Dreams and its future. And I would definitely say head over there, throw them a subscribe and thumbs up that video, because I think it's important that a lot of people see it. And they did diligent analysis and research for that video. And it's amazing. So go check out the channel and love up on that video. Love up on all the videos.
Some of the feedback we had after that was really funny as well. There was one comment which was like, oh, you guys are like reporting like a load of bollocks, like none of this is confirmed and stuff. And it's like, whoa. We're not reporters. Like, this is made very clear that this is our sort of theories and speculation. Like, I think that just goes to show we have a good tale.
I think the one thing you have on point though is the whole PlayStation Indies initiative. It's not a coincidence that this guy has stepped down and now took over Indie Initiative, and he's also involved with Dreams. It's not a coincidence.
No.
And that's what really, when I watched your video, I was like, when I heard that, because I wasn't aware until I watched your video that actually happened.
Until we were making it, we didn't realize it either.
Well, when I watched that and I was like, oh, okay, so it's going to happen. Like, my idea that I came up with in my brain that, they're going to start pushing things outside of Dreams to the PlayStation Store, it does back up, even if it's not to the same way that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Something like this is going to happen, because I don't think that he would step down from his position and just sort of move on to indie stuff and Dreams without any type of plan at all. There's obviously something in place here that we don't know about that's happening with Dreams and the PlayStation Store.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
it's exciting to see what is actually going to happen. But like I said before, Dreams is in such its early stages. 5 years down the line, you're going to look at Dreams and not recognize it.
Definitely.
So, I mean, what is your, because we've talked about a bunch of different things here, but what is your dream for Dreams? Where do you want it to be in 10 years?
So for us,
Yeah.
so like, literally be the end of that video we made. So literally, there's a professional version of Dreams. Like, I want to see people being able to export stuff. I want to see Dreams games being sold on Steam, being sold independently on PlayStation. I want people to be like making money from it, basically, and like being able to. In the video, we talk about how Little Big Media Molecule were excited about getting people that weren't in the games industry basically into it, and saying they might not necessarily be making games if it weren't for Little Big Planet. I think Dreams is meant to be this, and this is what ties into the PlayStation Indies thing. I think it's meant to be a source of fresh ideas and innovation. And I think whether or not Dreams Pro happens or it happens on the PlayStation Store, however it happens, the whole point and purpose of Dreams is to get new ideas. It's to get new ideas. It's to get new games. Because like I said before, we saw with the Bethesda thing how they've been brought up. Like, in a couple of years, these companies are going to need like new ideas, and you're going to have new studios and stuff. And Dreams this is the way I see it. Dreams is a source of untapped wealth. There are people with game ideas in their head, and they don't know how to code. They don't know how to use C++, if that's what it's even called. And Dreams is going to give them the ability to get their idea out there. And you never know. You could end up, one of these people could end up making Minecraft, and if they do, Sony wants to have they want to have a piece of the pie.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they can have the whole pie.
Yeah.
It's their thing. They don't have to share it with nobody if they don't want to.
So finally, for me, because I feel like I've been asking a lot of questions and kind of, guiding this through different back and forths, but like, as we talked about, I think you mentioned in the video as well, do you see Dreams jumping platforms? Do you see it becoming something that is put out on PC? Or do you think that it's hoarded and kept in PlayStation proper?
My answer is simple. It's no. PlayStation all the way. They ain't going to change it.
I was asking them. You just jumping all in with.
I'm very touchy about this. Okay?
I know you are.
Very touchy about it.
But I ask y'all, like, do you see it happening?
I do. I think I could, like, maybe 2 years ago, you could have convinced me that Sony wants to keep it locked down and they want it to be their thing. The fact that they're porting games now like Horizon to PC, and that was unheard of. Like 3 years ago, that was unheard of, that you'd have a Sony first-party game on PC. I think Dreams lends itself very, very well to like the PC community, which are they're used to modding games like Fallout and stuff like that, and obviously indie developers. I wouldn't put money on it because I think it could honestly go either way. But if like gun to my head, I'd say it's going to go on a PC.
They already have Unreal.
I hate that. I hate that when people say, "Oh, well, they've got Unreal."
They got it. They don't need it.
I don't agree with that.
See, but then, I mean, that's the beauty, though, because, like I said, I cannot express how many times I have gotten other engines on my PC, and it opened like the first couple of times I've tried to use them. It's like I open it up, I see that UI, and I'm just like, no, this is not going to happen. And then after a little while, I start to toy around with it a little bit more, but I never get anywhere. And Dreams was like, day one, this is what I've been waiting for. Now I can make this thing, even though it might not be the best that I'll ever be able to do it. I can actually I can sketch in this. Like, I can get the idea across. And I just think that I believe that if Dreams was made available on PC, whether or not that's the right move, and Jamie's kind of changed my mind on this, in that I see the potential in not giving it to PC. But if it was on PC, oh my God. Like, they might have Unreal or Unity, but you don't have to study the program for 7 years before you can do anything in it. So, like, people have to be enticed by that. So
I'm going to jump in on what you just mentioned about the whole PS5 games moving to PC as well. There is a very good reason for it, and I think it's because, in my opinion, Sony's main competition is Xbox, right? That's their main competitor. No different than PlayStation is Xbox's main competitor. They've always been back and forth with one another, and that will never change. For me, PC is another league that doesn't necessarily damage that sort of reputation between these two, because PC is for enthusiasts, right? If you've got a gaming PC, you've spent serious money on it. You can't really budget yourself on a PC. If you're going to budget yourself, you might as well get next gen console, because you're going to get more out of a £500 console than you are a £500 PC. So if you're going down the PC gaming route, you're spending thousands. So that becomes an enthusiast platform. With the games on PS5 moving to PC, it doesn't really affect PlayStation, because the fact of the matter is their main competition still can't play it. You can't play that game on Xbox. It's like Nintendo Switch, right? It's not really classed in the same league as PlayStation and Xbox. They're their own thing. They do whatever they want to do. They're not interested, because they just do them. With PC, it doesn't affect the whole exclusivity thing with PlayStation and Xbox, because the majority of gamers that play games is on a console, purely because it's simpler, easier, and cheaper. It's the enthusiasts that move to PC because they want better hardware, they're more into their technology. So they're not really interested in them, because they're never going to get them to convert to a console anyway, because they're already on the higher platform. So them letting the games go to PC doesn't affect anything, because Xbox still can't play it, and that's the whole point of making the game exclusive, is to remove it from their competitor. And I really don't think Sony sees PC as a competitor, because they are better than them in every way, and they will never beat them. But all the players are majority on consoles, so they're not really interested. All it is just extra money for them, for players that they're never going to receive. But if they keep it to their console, they can try and convince more players to move to their platform as opposed to Xbox.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just still, I see it as a logical move. I really, So,
I mean, it's like the people in the comments that go, "Oh, it's not really an exclusive anymore because it's on PC," and it's like, well, if you've got a PS5 anyway, what are you bothering about? You know, if it was an Xbox person saying that, then that's all well and good. Maybe it'll convince you to buy a PS5 then. That's the whole point of having an exclusive. But the PC is not your competitor. You don't need to be worried about the PC. You need to be worried about Xbox and what Xbox is doing.
I don't think you need to be worried about any of them, honestly. But, like, I mean, just in the sense of, you know.
I mean the company itself. I'm not on about the players. I'm on about the companies, you know.
Yeah. So we have about enough time for one last big conversation. Jamie, do you have?
I'm worried. No, I was just about to say I'm worried what type of topic you're going to bring up now.
Oh no, I'm leaving it to y'all. I've been all over the place on this podcast, like just egging things on. So, like, Jamie, do you have something specifically you would like to go into, or Lee, Sam, do y'all have something? I've done this before, but I just don't want you to feel like we're not involving you as you are our guest.
Do you have any big talk?
No big talk.
No. You guys we could brainstorm some ways to solve COVID, the economy. We're making a 10-year economy video. That's going to be the next one on our channel.
Okay, hear me out. There's this thing called a vault, And what we do is we all go into a vault. No, and just in 100 years we'll come back out, and hopefully we'll be good. We're just gonna be in a stasis in the vault. All right, we're we might call it the time of fallout. We might just just try to okay. Well, on to the next thing. No, I really feel like there's just I don't know. There's as far as dreams goes. Like, I really do want to know what's coming, and
Yeah.
and
Tell us.
and,
Crazy.
and I don't know. Like, it's almost at that point. Like, I fear that, like, even when they do tell us, there is that other fear that it's like not gonna be enough.
Mhm.
If you get what I'm saying, like, because everybody is hyped up on all of the different. How would you say the teraflops on this new on this next gen? What are you gonna do with all these teraflops? And
You see, with the Dreams community, I kind of got the other impression. Like, you talk about with a lot of people, you say, "What's it going to be like on PS5?" And a lot of people they're shrugging their shoulders and they're just like, "It's just going to be Dreams on PS5." And it's like, we go back to that Alex Evans tweet where it's like, "Oh, what Media Molecule's working on is going to blow your minds." And it's like, I think people need to get excited and we need to raise expectations a little bit, because at the moment,
Yeah.
it's just kind of just like, it feels like everyone's falling asleep.
Waiting for multiplayer.
Waiting, yeah, like that's gonna multiplayer is gonna be a great update, but I don't think it's gonna be like revolutionary in the way people are making it.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, what I'm waiting for Dreams is I'm not necessarily waiting for any more updates of major things that you can do in Dreams. I think the people that are creating in Dreams first need to really concentrate on making their games look good.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, and I'll probably get shot for this from the chat, but
God damn.
I'm an honest person. If you don't like it, you can leave. I
He's
find
just
that-
playing. Don't leave. No.
I find that 95% of stuff you play in Dreams looks like it's made in Dreams. Like,
Oh.
Dreams has this look about it, and it's like straight away you're like, yep, it's just the bog standard style, the same color palette, the same puppet, and the same procedural animation. And it's just like, you need to think outside the box and make this look more like your own. This looks like everything else that's on Dreams. And, if you're trying to create something, it needs to have some personality to it. And that's the thing that a lot of games on Dreams are lacking at the moment is personality. Everything has that same flecked color where everything's all little flecks and stuff. And I understand that's what the engine is based off of, but you don't have to have your game look like that. It's not like...
We have a friend who doesn't play Dreams. We obviously talk about it all the time and we drive him mad. And that's his number one complaint. His number one complaint is all of the videos you show me, 95% of it all looks the same. It's all got this fuzzy quality.
Yeah.
And that puts me off. That's what he says.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And the thing is with it is you don't have to have your game look like that. I mean, we're developing a game right now, and we've developed stuff that doesn't have that flecky Dreams vibe to it. So it is possible to do it, but I think it's just down to people still learning the system and not thinking outside the box as to, hey, let's make this not look like it's Dreams.
As a non-creator, is there a way, like, this is going to sound crazy, but like, I think there's a lot of complex stuff you can do in Dreams. It takes so much time to do it, and they need to simplify a lot of things. Could it be as simple as Media Molecule, like having a filter? So you have the flex system, and there's like literally like a gameplay option you can have, and you filter it, and now you've got all these different graphical modes. So really easily you could do black and white.
See, I don't know, because the whole engine is built on that flex system.
Yeah.
And that's why it works on a PlayStation, is that flex system is what makes it run. But you can disguise it, and I've played loads of Dreams that doesn't look flecky and has that Dreams look to it. I've played tons of games where if I just walked into a room and saw someone play it, I'd have no idea it was on Dreams unless it was for the watermark in the bottom right-hand corner. So it is doable, but the majority of players don't do it, and that's what annoys me. It's like you're creating a game, and yes, I know it's on Dreams, and you're making it for the community, and you don't expect it to go anywhere, so why would you bother trying to remove the Dreams look from it?
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, with our game, my goal is for it to not like... I don't want it to look like it was made on Dreams. I want it to look like its own thing. because as a creator, that should be your aspiration, is to make it look unique. So when people see it, they're like, oh, look at this. This is different. People should be aspiring themselves to remove themselves from the stock that is Dreams and push it to its limits. I mean, look at what Bad Robo's made. I mean, Jesus, he's made stuff that looks impossible.
I love the debate that people are like, there's so many people that are adamant that it's not real. And he's like,
Yeah.
I've never seen it playing in Dreams. It's fake.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, because it's not got that flecky look to it, and don't get me wrong, it's super realistic and everything, but because it hasn't got that fleck look to it, that's what makes you question whether or not it was made in Dreams, because we're just so used to seeing this fleck look.
I wish you didn't have to fight the engine though in order to do that. I wish, like, when I was like learning about Dreams, and this is coming from a point of a non-creator, it's just like I sometimes sit down and I try and use the tools. And Sam can hear me swearing from the other room on like a Sunday. It's like I'll do it for 2 hours and I'll get a migraine and I'll quit, because it's like I want to make a narrative game. I want to make a game with a dude in a house and you just explore the house and story stuff happens. And the amount of work, the amount of YouTube videos and stuff I looked up trying to work out how to do a button prompt, so that like a button prompt comes up, you press square, a note appears, and God bless them, I had people on the community Twitter like explaining it to me, and there was a guy who very helpfully, he like did it all for me, all the logic and everything. And I looked into it and he was like, do you want me to make this shareable so you can use it? And I foolishly, I said to him, no, I don't want that. I want to be able to go into it and I want to learn it for myself so I can do it. And I went into it and I just couldn't do it. There was like 15 different gadgets, I think, in order to do this text prompt. And I think if Dreams is going to get to the level I want it to the accessibility it has, I kind of feel as though it needs to be even more accessible. And that comes with and the community making more pre-made logic tools and pre-made.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. It needs to be simplified, because I myself I'm in the same boat as you. I am a terrible creator. I can't make anything. I've surfed for like half an hour with a square box and never got anywhere forward other than the square box. I'm just useless at it. So that's why I decided to develop a virtual studio filled with people that can do the stuff that I can't do, and together then we can create the game that I want to create. And luckily for me, that has happened. I mean, we have a team of 9 people now working on our game.
And that's also exactly what Yoshida said he wanted to happen as well. He said that. He said he wants people to come together and form like virtual game communities, develop teams.
And that's great. And I wouldn't have it any other way for myself. I love that I have this team that I work with, and we're very passionate about our project. And without Dreams, none of this would have happened. But at the same time, there is those solo people that just want to create a small project on their own, but they don't want to invest the time into learning everything to develop what they want. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours of content on Dreams alone without even touching YouTube, with their own tutorials of how to do everything. And that can be very overwhelming. Whereas, like you said, if they make these logic packs then so that you can just drag and drop stuff into your game for simplicity, that's going to get a lot more players on board.
I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but I also feel like there's a point where it's like you can't ask them to do everything for you. Like, and I'm not sure if the request you've made crosses that line in my mind or not, because I like, believe me, like most people go in to make a game. I went in to try to make a short film. So like everything that I needed to be able to do to make that happen at a decent enough quality, like I figured out how to do it. Now, it wasn't a game per se, but like, so it didn't have a whole lot of logic in it, but it literally had none, to be fair. Like, but I've learned to incorporate logic to get what I want. And I feel like, yeah, it would be cool if you could sit there and say like, let me, I want to be able to go and just have someone like just make it so I can take this and put it in this little box and done. But at the same time, I feel like that I don't know. I've been fighting the same tutorial for the last week, okay? I get where you're coming from.
This is the point of Dreams. The point is to make a game in your underwear. That's the way I see it. You can play. You're on Dreams in your sofa. It's meant to be low tax. You're meant to be able to just. This is the way they demoed it when they were obviously before the game released. It was just people hanging out, you're dragging stuff. Oh yeah, we're just 3D sculpting, we're building a level, and it's just like it feels to me as if a button prompt takes 15 gadgets in order to get them onto the screen, it's still too complicated.
I agree.
I'm not talking about like, they have to make an advanced combat system for me, and I want the HUD sword done and all this sort of stuff. It's just like
just the simple stuff.
People have got to be able to walk, and I can't walk in Dreams. I'm still crawling.
I
don't
agree
know.
with you completely myself. I think the whole point of Dreams, like you said, is to give the average person the ability to create a game. And yes, they have given us all the tools to do that. And technically, anybody can create a game in Dreams. Technically. But let's be honest. The logic side of Dreams is so advanced when you look at it. I mean, I've spoken to the Logic team in our studio that's working on our game, and this person on our team has showed me and tried to explain to me this mechanic that they're creating, and it's got like 50-60 blocks in it, and this person has had to write down mathematical code in Excel to see if the formula works before she implements it into Dreams, and then tests it to make sure it works. No average person is going to have the ability to do that.
But
And
they've
nor are
already
they
given
going-
you the ability to reach a person who can. And I think that's where I was ultimately trying to get to, is that the community that they fostered made it so that I'm not good at logic, but from the people I've met just recently, like within the last week and a half, even if I wasn't part of Lucid Nebula Studios, like I know that if I put something out and was like, hey, can you take a look at this and like give me a button mechanic, they'll do it. So you may want to learn it, but you don't necessarily have to. And this wraps around to one of the things you've brought up that really reaches me deep in my soul. And it's the idea that you said you wish this game was made sooner. And I've talked about in past broadcasts, like this is the game I've always wanted to see made. And I've been talking about it on different podcasts for the last 8 years. And it's finally here. But yeah, I don't have the time to learn logic. And I think you brought up earlier, like you don't really have the time either. But being that
it literally I sit down to try and develop in Dreams, and I spend a whole day trying to learn something, and it's like a really simple thing. I still haven't got it at the end of the day, and to me, it comes across a point of like, if I can't do this one thing in a day, how many more hours do I have to invest in order to make the game that's like in my head, and it becomes an unmanageable task.
But even if you had to invest another 40, you'd still be trying to use any other engine. And I don't think that negates your request to have it, kind of have archived logic accessible to you. There are people who have done that, but you, as Eddie pointed out in chat, you still have to be able to understand what's there. Yeah. So I do get your request for it to be a bit more, for the logic to be a bit more accessible, but I've also reached this idea in my mind that it can only be so accessible. Like, if you get what I'm saying, like it can, at some point, to reach a level of accessibility, maybe even to that, hey, I'll just plug it, I'll just take it from here and put it here. That I don't know if that's doable, because all of it requires that you have to do something to tag it in there, like to put it with the rest of the stuff and make it work. And so, like, I don't know. And believe me, like I said, I know jack about about logic. Like, I'm learning literally daily as I go and seeing if I can understand things. But I feel like, yeah, even if it was a plug and play thing, because of my lack of understanding of it, it still wouldn't work for me because I wouldn't know where to put it. I wouldn't know where to connect the wires.
Yeah.
Like, or where they need to be connected to make it work. So I wish what you're saying, or I hope, let me put it that way. I hope what you're saying is possible. But I think what it comes down to is what we're already seeing, where you see people making their own puppets that already have these certain things put into them. Yeah. And I think that's really as far as we can get with that. Is just having people create different puppets with the logic already there and not necessarily the logic that you can plug and play into things. Because I think that little jump would lose 80% of people who don't know what they're doing in logic. Like me.
I think the problem is that the logic in Dreams is based on the same principles as the coding of a conventional game engine, right? You know, because I've seen and spoke to loads of people that really good at logic within Dreams and fought to try it in Unreal. And although it's not a one-to-one, the principles of the logic are the same in the other engine. It's just done a bit different within Dreams. It's a lot more visual. So the logic that's in Dreams is based on the same principle as game mechanics in any other engine. So there is only so far that you can go to simplify it. And I think they have done a really good job of making it as dumbed down as possible. But I still just think for the average person, it's still too complicated.
In my head, as you were saying that, it's like the problem I have is the logic is too logical. And Molecule, who is based on like, you know, being like artistically free and doing this and doing that, Sam will tell you, I have no logic like at all. And so it's like, I don't know, I'm picturing some magic system in my head where there's just a button that says something like create and you plug a wire into it and then a game appears. And yeah, that probably is asking too much.
I mean, I really just think everything will be figured out in the future. And what I mean by as people create, like, you know, someone will take that base model that they got to throw a fireball and they'll be like, oh, here's a model that can throw a fireball. And I feel like from there, you can figure out how to make said fireball into the thing you want, a sonic boom or whatever. Like, and I think that's as far as they can take it without literally spending too much time trying to fix that specific thing. Fix that specific thing about the game. It's just like you kind of just have to wait for it to grow, and then someone will be like, hey, this here's a button, and here's the model that can already access that button. Now put this button where you want it to be, and here's the model that you build your character out of that can press it. Like, I feel like that's the fix, not necessarily changing logic, if you get what I'm saying. Because I mean, I just know I've run into that, and it's, you know, it's always cool. It's always cool to be like, hey, I need this door that can slide open when the player gets within this thing. And it's like, okay, well, I found this guy who there's the sensor and there's the model, and now I can just walk that model towards the door and it works. And I feel like that's as far as my understanding of logic is ever going to get, where I'm just borrowing from things. And that in itself is what I love about Dreams. So I don't know. I'm not trying to dash your dreams. I'm not. I'm not. I just think that would be the way it would be fixed, and not necessarily through them quote unquote dumbing down logic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have we reached the end? Is this the end?
I think we may have.
Anything else? This is your last chance. Lee, Sam?
No.
Just
No?
get the cheap plugs in. Cheap plugs for the channel, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So yeah, we're where are we? My God. where are we available? We're available on YouTube,
Twitch, sort of.
sort of. Yeah, we Twitch every now and again. So it's Ugly Sofa Gaming is the name of the channel. We play Dreams regularly. We're doing more videos where we sort of explore different ideas when it comes to the future and the community and what we want to see and what we don't want to see. And yeah, we come at it from a perspective, you guys have said, as we're players, you create a little bit in a fashion. But yeah, we're coming at Dreams from a different perspective of we actually play the stuff that you make, and
Send us your levels.
yeah, send us levels, and
Well, we'll be sure to send you ours once it's finished.
definitely feel free.
Maybe in 2030 when I've stopped bugging my team to say, let's put this in here, and I've had this idea last night, let's put this in the game.
Yeah, I mean, just I already said it earlier, but if you're just getting here, or if you weren't here when I said it, go put it like follow Ugly Sofa Gaming, give them all the love, give them all the, all the thumbs up, follow them, support them.
Nice.
And I say this because a lot of people have brought up that, the guests that we've had on the show, a lot of them are heavy hitters in the community. And we want to have more heavy hitters, but we also want to take the time to bring on people who are like us, the way we've described our experience with Dreams, where we're not the best. we're
far from it.
Yeah, like we're learning, and I think that's important because as we've discussed through most of this episode, the masses dictate success. The fans of the existing community is a beautiful community, but the success of this game hinges on it growing to not just the fans, but to everyone, to the masses, to where the accessibility of Dreams can negate Minecraft so I don't have to hear about it ever again. And and as anybody who is familiar with Dreams would say, why does it exist anymore when Dreams exist? But yeah, we need to get to that point. So support all the people we have on the podcast, check out their stuff, and just show them the love that we ourselves have benefited from since starting this podcast. And that's the way we grow the community. That's the way that we get eyes on the product as well as on ourselves and what we bring to the community. So my speech is over. All right.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for being on the show. It's been greatly appreciated.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. We are going to go ahead and go silent while we let the outro play. I'm going to find someone to throw all of our lovely, lovely 21 viewers to. If you have any ideas, let me know. And enjoy our outro screen.
Bye, guys.